Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I understand it is a mammoth task to warm up an event which is attended by highly profiled and professors on a day. But nevertheless, because I was born from a royal family and proudly to be from that family. As a traditional leader, it's part of my daily routine or processes that I stand in front of the people. So I think I will try to do justice in terms of what I've been asked to say, but it is not all that you expect that I will say, because I know a number of things. It is within you and the way you do it. I will not dwell on the introduction, as you have already been told. And the most important thing that we need to talk of is to understand the definition of atrocities. Mass atrocities is a catch-all phrase used to cover any act of intentionally perpetrated a large amount of people that cause their pain or suffering. It can also be defined as a widespread systematic use of violence by state or non-state armed groups against non-combatants. The definition includes, but is not limited to, genocide, crimes against humanity, and a large scale of war crimes. You can also visit some of the places that have this, and some quotations and are there. The definition is not so limited. Genocide means any following acts committed with the intent to destroy in a whole or part a national, ethnic, racial, religious group, such as killing members of the group, causing seriously bodily, mental, or harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about the physical destruction in part or whole. Imposing measures intended to prevent birth within a group, forcibly transfer of children of groups. You can also see Article 2 Convention on Prevention and Punishment of Crime of Genocide. You can also visit Article 6 or Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. Quoted in the product, preventing genocide is a collective and individual responsibility. Everyone has a role to play. Governments, the media, civil society organizations, religious groups, and each and every one of us. Let us build a global partnership against genocide. Let us protect populations from genocide when their governments cannot and will not. This was said by the UN Secretary General. The state responsibility to protect. At a summit in 2005, the United Nations members unanimously endorsed the responsibility to protect. The responsibility to protect, popularly known as RTOP, as it is commonly known, reaffirms the responsibility of the international community to prevent genocide, ethics cleansing, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. However, the prevention of mass atrocities and genocide cannot only undertaken by the state, but it calls for collaborative efforts, as already stated by the preventing mass atrocities and genocide, the shared responsibility. Preventing mass atrocities and genocide is a shared responsibility which calls for a collaborative efforts of respective governments of the world in the fulfillment of their responsibility to protect their citizens, as well as civil society initiatives aimed at fostering a culture of respecting for human rights, accountability for wrongdoers, conflict management and prevention, peace building, and effective access redress for survivors of human rights violations. Seeing through the atrocities prevention lens, one Australian had this to say: aimed at preventing mass atrocities and genocide should be constructed on the basis of what he calls an atrocity prevention lens, a historical approach which takes into account the full spectrum of prevention-related activities. This is because genocide mass atrocities are rarely spontaneous. The relatively long process leading to human rights violation to genocide provides ample time to foresee it and to implement actions to address the threats. Human rights violation at the root cause of mass atrocities. Mass atrocities, genocide, crime against humanity, rampant and unabated human rights violations are at the roots of what the latter manifests as mass atrocities and genocide. As a result, civil society can assist in preventing mass atrocities and genocide by addressing human rights violations domestically, regionally, and internationally. Activities aimed at increasing our community awareness of human rights. Advocacy initiatives aimed at raising awareness of the citizens concerning human rights are critical in ensuring the individuals are empowered to claim their rights from their respective governments. Such initiatives are also important to foster a culture of respect for human rights, tolerance in the communities. Ensuring the accountability of wrongdoers and redress for wrongdoers. COCOs can play a vital role in fighting the culture of impunity, which creates a breeding ground for mass atrocities and genocide by advocating for perpetrators of human rights violations to be held accountable and for the wrongdoers to be allowed access to justice and redress. These are areas which are so pertinent and which are not even in existence at the moment in a more populous way. Holding state accountable for the policies and practices. CSOs should occupy the political space between the state and the citizens and act as a watchdog to ensure that the state does not infringe on the rights of the citizens. Obligation to respect. As the state takes steps to protect citizens from violations of their rights, obligation to protect, and that the state takes positive measures to make the rights of citizens a reality, obligation to fulfill. These are challenges that we are currently grappling on in terms of making sure that we take the state to be accountable. Regional and international lobby for advocates. CATOs take utilization various regional and international forums to highlight the human rights situation in their respective countries, and also to lobby for regional and international mechanisms and communities to intervene and engage with the respective government, e.g. African Commission, UN, Universal Periodic Review, and other. Conflict is a catastrophe list for mass atrocities and genocide. Mass atrocities often occur at the crossroads between conflict and weak human rights protection. During armed conflict, there can be a sense of anything goes. which is exacerbated where they are also have the understanding that there is likely to be total impunity for the commission of crimes and human rights violation. There was a task force for the EU prevention of mass atrocities, the EU and the prevention of mass atrocities and assessment of strengths and weaknesses. Preventing genocide and mass atrocities and conflict transformation. Peace building is the set of initiatives by diverse actors in the government and civil society to address the root causes of violence and protect civilians before, during, and after violent conflicts. Peace building. CSOs can work with communities to encourage peace conflict resolutions through non-violent means such as community communication, negotiations, and mediation instead of belligerence and violence to resolve conflict. CSOs can also foster tolerance and mutual respect in the communities, which is essential for peaceful coexistence. The challenges that some CSOs then make within certain communities and governments is that they tend to be also a quasi-government, which then becomes more of a challenge in terms of understanding their realities. As rightly pointed by without the active involvement of civil society, we would live in a world ridden with much more violence and human rights abuse, burdened with greater social injustice, equipped with less sensitivity to the ecological problems we are facing. This is because the civil society bears the responsibility of acting as a watchdog over the state and to guard against its excess, and the communities to protect the rights and well-being of individuals. In this regard, notwithstanding the fact that the responsibility to protect lies squarely with the state, CSOs has an obligation to not only see it to that states fulfill this responsibility, but also take positive steps to complement the protection mandate of the state in order to prevent mass atrocities and genocide. These are challenges that as CSOs we have in terms of making sure that we dialogue, we confront, we engage with the respective states, with the respective bodies, in order for this environment to exist. But I think this is a good thing and an opportunity that is being created by ICDC so that we engage. I think you did a good thing. And lastly, I think I don't have to hesitate to mention, to thank ICD for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to present this paper. I hope, and this is my hope, that you will continue to do this in the foreseeable future so that we continuously benefit as a community. I know very well that it's so straining for an organization to gather a number of people like you are doing, but nevertheless, you are not doing it for a profit-making also, but for the benefit of the community. And I know we are a community, irrespective of color or what. We belong to one community. I thank you so much.